But the thing also is this, a host of people are wondering, if a referendum is actually feasible, and who is going to handle the referendum, in terms of if our electoral process is still not as straight as it should be, or we're still having challenges with it. So it depends on whose eyes you're using to look at it. Some say it's major, some say it's minor. Can we really entrust that process, into the hands of the electoral body as we have it now?
I think since 1989, or rather since 1992, the electoral body as it is today is better than what we've ever had. We have a semblance of confidence in them. That is one. Then the second aspect is that we have some civil society organizations that are working that can also monitor the referendum that will be sent out. And don't forget the fact that the representatives of the people have already met. They have decided on this. It's simply testing, and they themselves will also take it up among the people, because they are feeling the vibes of every other group on what do your people want.
You don't see a process where it could be influenced by politicians?
In every process, whether in America, whether in Germany, things are influenced by politicians because they are going to enlighten and educate the masses.
No, in this case, negatively.
Oh, how would it be negative, assuming that they have said, oh, okay, except you're saying when these people finishes and it becomes okay. When they finish and it becomes okay, the mass media will also help to disseminate whether they are okay or not. If Nigerians in general say, no, we don't want what they have done, that becomes a different thing. But if the mass media, including the people around, continue to say, oh, this is the best, highlighting the good things about it, during the referendum, we will know that it's actually the will of the people.
But do you not think that it would be easier if you went to the National Assembly, where every member can vote and you can hold members accountable, as to the choices of their vote?
We can take that way, but then the National Assembly was not elected to give us a new constitution. The National Assembly was elected to do amendments, to do certain things in accordance with that Decree 24, which is the Nigerian constitution today. So the national question will continue to haunt us if we still ask the National Assembly to do. If you are saying when they finish, they should send the National Assembly to enact it as law, it is still, anybody can still see it as part of Decree 24. But when you subject it to referendum, certainly if majority of people do not want it, you have a feel of it. So that is why we think it's better sent it there, so that for once for the first time, would have answered that national question.
Looking at the ingredients of this national conference, would you say that we have all the ingredients in place? There's also been a debate as to whether or not ethnic nationalities should have been there. Are you satisfied with the fact that we have professional bodies? We also have, some appointees, and we also have all cadres, all shades of people in that particular conference.
Now, what some of us are saying is that you shouldn't call it ethnic nationality conference. But that does not mean that ethnic issues or ethnic nationality issues should not be discussed. Now, from the modalities, from my understanding of the modalities out, you see that ethnic nationalities are also, because these people are not coming from Cameroon. They're all ethnic nationalities of Nigeria. And part of the things they said in the modalities is that the government, even in appointments, will also have in mind that if there are some ethnic nationalities that are not represented, that they will be represented. But if you now decide to say ethnic nationalities, you now have a problem of saying how many people will represent Hausa Fulani. We will now enter into a bigger problem. How many people are going to represent the Yoruba nation?
Even as of now, we're beginning to have issues. The NBA is saying that they don't have enough representation. So it's like either way, you're stuck.
There can be claims. NBA say they don't have enough representation because they believe they are lawyers who should actually, take the process up. But remember that the judiciary is also to be represented. The judiciary will also appoint. These are also lawyers, and sometimes you see that many people want to elect lawyers from their various.
That means you have the bench going to be represented here.
The bench is an arm of government, just like the National Assembly is an arm of government, and which I believe will be represented, and then the executive will also be represented.
So is their claim justified that they want more representation?
I think to the extent that they are lawyers who would want to help to guide the process, if they are given a bit more, since we are talking about constitution process. So the body that represents lawyers, I mean, you should give them some.
You know, Senator Okromu said, well, it's not about constitution making, it's about discussing what we want. So basically we have other professionals that can actually expose some of the points from their own localities.
Yes, but there need to be guidance to tell you some of these things you're saying. Can they really go into legislative work? You need people that will guide the system. You know, if you don't have lawyers, it's very difficult for you to move.
So if there's a lawyer there, isn't that sufficient?
One lawyer,
the NBA president, for instance, happens to be the one.
Yes.
After all, there isn't two, there's one NBA president. So wouldn't that suffice?
One lawyer in 500 persons, close to 500 persons.
Yeah, he's a representation.
Yes, representation. But anyway, but the point is that we know there will still be many other lawyers apart from the representatives of the NBA. They are only trying to say that it's good to have, you know, a good representation as a body.
Mr. Ezeala, do you feel a situation where people could break or begin to aggregate into ethnic, you know, groupings within that conference?
Yes, I see a situation where they will do that, but we shouldn't be afraid of that, because he who runs away from fire lives to fight again. So it's very important that we solve all these problems once and for all. Group, no problem. We already have modalities on how to pass any particular resolution. So there has to be horse trading, whether by ethnic groups or through professional groupings. It's bound to be there, but remember that for them to pass any particular issue, it's not just by simple majority.
75%.
75%. So you see, there must be horse trading. Otherwise, the existing system continues.
Okay, thank you for coming on, Mr. Chukwuma Ezeala, as a legal practitioner, and we've been looking at the modalities released for the forthcoming national conference.